guy like, all right, cool. Y'all want me to fight over there? Send me something first.
Yeah.
Send me something first.
Right.
I don't gotta fight. You know why fighters going over there? Because they can't sell here. I can sell here. So I ain't gotta go over there.
Right.
What they making over there, I'm making here.
Gervonta Davis has always been known for speaking his mind, but his recent comments have raised concerns among fans about his commitment to boxing. Over the past few months, Davis has been more open about his frustrations with the sport. From calling boxing trash to getting into public feuds, especially with promoter Floyd Mayweather, it's clear that his passion for boxing may be fading. Fans are starting to question if Davis still loves the sport as much as he used to.
25 is at the next year. I'm out of it.
Adding to the controversy, Davis's absence from the prestigious Ring Magazine Awards only made things worse. Often referred to as the Oscars of boxing, the event in London brings together some of the biggest names in the sport. His no-show raised even more questions and fueled the growing drama surrounding him.
He feel like he got the power because he got the cash. So it's like, let me on everybody else type shit. Like, let me take it. But he's, I mean, I don't know, you can't.
In this fight, Davis is throwing more punches than Frank Martin, really.
At the event, big names like Alexander Usyk and Evander Holyfield were in attendance, along with rising stars like Ryan Garcia, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney. But one notable absence was Tank Davis, which sparked a lot of speculation. Fans couldn't understand why a top fighter like him wasn't there. Davis later took to social media to express his frustration, and he made it clear that his anger was aimed at none other than Turkish billionaire Alalshikh, the owner of Ring Magazine and a major player in Saudi Arabian sports. For Tank, being left out of the event was just a symbol of bigger problems in boxing. He's been very open about his frustration with the sport's politics and how it's becoming too commercialized. He feels like the focus has shifted away from the fighters and fans, with decisions now being made by people who don't really care about the sport. Tank believes this is hurting the integrity of boxing, and his ongoing issues with Alalshikh have only added to his growing disappointment with the sport.
Well, it looks like Turki Alalshikh may be buying PBC. Up to $1 billion in debt. So Gervonta Davis talking about he needs 2 Ferraris. Let's just say he's going to be calling himself Abdul Wahid.
The relationship between Davis and Alalshikh seems to have gone downhill after several failed talks. Davis recently shared that Alalshikh had approached him with offers to join a major event in Saudi Arabia, part of the country's plan to bring top fighters to the region. But Tank made it clear from the beginning that he wouldn't make it easy. In a bold move, Davis asked for 2 Ferraris just to consider sitting down for negotiations, something some saw as bold, while others thought it was smart.
Excellency over there in Saudi Arabia, he got it going on. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. He just may be the savior of boxing. It's reported that he wants Tank Davis.
The Ferrari request might have seemed excessive to some, but for Davis, it wasn't just about luxury, it was about standing up for his value in an industry that's becoming more focused on money than passion for the sport. They think they can throw money at you and that's enough, Davis said. But for me, it's not just about money, it's about respect, and I didn't feel respected. Alalshikh responded with a mix of humor and defiance, joking, "We'll send you 2 gloves if you want. That's it."
Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready. What you think about that? Oh, Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready.
I need 3 now.
Yeah.
Davis's refusal to accept Alalshik's terms wasn't just about luxury cars or contracts, it highlighted his larger frustrations with boxing. Earlier this year, he said, boxing isn't the same anymore. There's too much drama, too much nonsense, and not enough focus on what really matters. At the time, some wrote it off as a complaint from a fighter at the peak of his career. But as time has passed, it's become clear that Davis's concerns run much deeper. His feud with Alalshikh and being snubbed by Ring Magazine have only made his issues with the sport more obvious. For Davis, the growing Saudi influence in boxing is a perfect example of what's wrong. While many fighters welcome the big paydays, Davis remains skeptical. It's all about who can pay the most now, he says. They don't care about the fights, the fans, or the fighters. It's just about the money.
Well, my experience with Turkey has been, a pleasure. Everything has been straight down the line. Everything's been good. The conversation's been great.
In the head. He had his hands up and tried to wrap one too, and I think Frank's going to complain about that. Yeah, right there. Yeah. But that's his fault for turning his head.
Not everyone shares Davis's skepticism. Some argue that the money coming into boxing from places like Saudi Arabia has breathed new life into the sport, creating fresh opportunities for fighters and attracting bigger audiences. For many, the chance to earn life-changing money is enough to overlook the growing commercialization. But for Davis, it's not just about the paycheck, it's about the integrity of the sport. I've worked hard to get where I am. This isn't just about money for me, it's about what boxing stands for, he said.
This conference, it looked like you were talks about retirement was not even discussed at this moment, and now it's something you keep on repeating. Is it just because obviously what you've done through boxing since you were a kid and everything?
For turning his head.
And it's those body shots that are doing damage.
That's right.
Davis's issues with Alec go beyond just money. The pressure to agree to terms, combined with what he saw as a lack of real respect, left him frustrated. They made it clear they wanted me and were willing to do anything to get me, but it felt forced. It wasn't about the fights or the fans, it was about their own agenda, Tank said. This feeling ties into his broader concerns about boxing, where he believes fighters are often treated as pawns in a bigger game. Adding to the drama is Davis's tense relationship with other fighters and his willingness to speak out about what he sees as flaws in the sport. His back and forth with Terence Crawford, for example, highlighted the financial focus that often overshadows the merit-based aspects of boxing. After Crawford commented on Davis's frustrations, Tank responded by comparing their earnings, further showing how money has become the main conversation in the sport.
I know he feel like how I feel when I be wanting to see them big fights be made. He got the money to throw it at everybody so they can shut up talking about that money.
Self in as the middleman to get the job done.
26 with 0 body shots landed. Rounded number.
Shakur Stevenson, another top fighter, also shared his thoughts on the Davis-Alec feud. He suggested that Alec might eventually offer Davis an offer he can't refuse to bring him to Saudi Arabia, highlighting the power of the Saudi Sports Authority. But for Davis, it's not just about the money, it's about protecting the true spirit of boxing. Tank's growing frustration with the sport has led some to wonder if he might step away entirely. Earlier this year, he shocked fans by hinting at retirement, saying, "Sometimes I feel like I've done enough."
Hey, look, the PBC is going down. That's why he's hanging his head low. Tank, quote unquote, is retiring, but it's not from boxing, bro. When he said he was out, he didn't even say from the sport first. He out of PBC. Like, he don't even want to have no connection for them, bro. Any connections with them. So, hey, he gonna try to get the bag with Turki Alalshikh. He'll probably have about 4 fights after the 3 fights this upcoming year, which I'm hopeful for because I'm a Tank fan.
And the jab goes to work for Martin to the body.
Yeah, he stopped throwing that.
While many dismissed Davis's comments about retirement earlier, his ongoing frustrations and feud with Alec have made those words more significant. Tank's latest criticisms of Alec and the growing Saudi influence in boxing have sparked heated debates. Some view his comments as a much-needed perspective on the state of the sport, while others see them as simply a bitter reaction to personal grievances. Adding to the controversy, former champion and commentator Tim Bradley has publicly supported Davis, praising his unapologetic approach and reinforcing his own doubts about boxing's increasing commercialization.
That's why I respect Tank. Hey, Tank, you got a new fan, dog. You got a new fan. You a real one, dog. As of late, you've been showing me you a real one. I like that. Yes, you've been showing me that you are a real one. Now, if you go over there and
Tank's recent frustration is partly due to his exclusion from the Ring Magazine Awards ceremony. His absence stood out, especially since he holds a world championship title, unlike fighters like Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. To make matters worse, Garcia is serving a suspension for testing positive for a banned substance, and his win over Haney was overturned to a no contest, which only added to Davis's feeling of disrespect. For a fighter with Tank's credentials and fanbase, the snub seemed unfair. But Davis's issues with boxing go beyond just the awards. His feud with Alec reflects his broader dissatisfaction with where the sport is heading. Alec's response, offering Davis a pair of gloves instead of the Ferraris he requested, only fueled the fire. Davis didn't hold back, accusing fighters who agreed to fight in Saudi Arabia of caring more about money than the integrity of the sport. He dismissed the Saudi events as empty spectacles, pointing out the small crowds and lack of atmosphere compared to the electric energy of major fights in the US. "I sell where I'm from, America," Tank declared, stressing his belief in his homegrown star power.
David, he said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send to you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it.
Davis's comments have caused a split in the boxing world. Some critics argue that he's just bitter and jealous, especially as the Saudi Arabian boxing scene continues to rise, backed by huge financial support. Saudi Arabia has attracted top fighters with big paydays, making it a major force in the sport. Events like Tyson Fury's fights with Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua's career comeback have helped solidify Saudi Arabia as a key player. Tank's refusal to participate has led some to accuse him of being unable to compete in this new, globally focused landscape.
We don't have to, again, sell our soul, as they say, for money.
Quite the way to put it.
Stay out of the corners if he wants to stay in this fight.
Yeah, stay out of the corners.
On the other hand, Tim Bradley views Davis's stance as a bold stand against boxing's growing commercialization. Bradley was clear in his support, praising Tank's authenticity. "That's why I respect Tank," he said. "You've been showing me you're a real one, I like that." Bradley admired Davis for refusing to bow to Alec, even though other fighters, including Shakur Stevenson, have embraced the chance to fight in Saudi Arabia. Bradley's comments added another layer to the debate, as he seemed to favor Davis's approach over Stevenson's, which was surprising given his previous praise for Shakur.
They say Turki Alalshikh is not with the cherry picking or not paying fighters from cherry pick. So why is he willing to pay them so much money to cherry pick?
Bradley did caution, however, that if Davis ever went back on his principles and took a payday from Saudi Arabia, he would lose his respect. "If you go back on your word, you're going to lose a big fan, dog, and I'm going to come at you," Bradley said, making his stance clear. Davis's comments, along with Bradley's support, reflect a bigger issue in boxing: the tension between tradition and the modern, money-driven side of the sport. For many fans, boxing has always been about legacy, honor, and competition. Fighters like Davis, who've built their careers on loyal domestic fan bases and personal connections to their communities, see the Saudi influence as a betrayal of those core values. The huge paydays offered by Alec and his team are seen as shortcuts, attracting fighters who prioritize money over the love of the sport.
Did anyone see Turki Alalshikh doing this? A lot of people are speculating that this was the signal to get the fight to end, but let's be real, the guy's probably just annoyed that his plans for an AJ versus Tyson Fury fight are probably down the drain, so he wanted that camera off him quick.
Critics of Davis argue that his stance is hypocritical. After all, he's never turned down big paydays himself, and his flashy lifestyle, often shared on social media, shows just how successful he's been financially. Some question whether his refusal to work with the Saudis is really about sticking to his principles, or if it's simply because he feels overlooked. His strong comments about the small crowds in Saudi Arabia and the fighters taking part in events there could be seen as bitterness rather than a moral stance. Additionally, some argue that his position might limit his career opportunities. As boxing becomes more global, Saudi Arabia offers fighters a chance to reach new fans and earn life-changing money. For fighters like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Alexander Usyk, fighting in Saudi Arabia has been a smart move to grow their international profiles.
What Riyadh season do with the big promoter and big fighters, show us who's the real fighters and who's, in the last year we changed the map and there is a lot of fighters.
Still around like that.
That's right. Look, he's got room to...
By refusing to get involved, Davis risks falling behind as the sport continues to evolve. However, the criticism hasn't shaken him. He remains firm in his beliefs, and his refusal to compromise, even if it means potentially missing out on big paydays, has earned him admiration from fans who value authenticity over opportunism. For many of these supporters, Tank's outspokenness is a breath of fresh air in a sport often controlled by corporate interests and politics. That said, not everyone is convinced. Critics argue that Davis's actions contradict his message. His demand for Ferraris, meant to highlight his worth, came across as excessive to many. If Tank truly values principles over money, they wonder, why make such extravagant demands in the first place? This contradiction has led some to question the sincerity of his position.
Your Excellency Turki Alalshikh, sent top rank offer, and it was a good offer. I mean, a good offer, and he turned it down for whatever reason. He turned it down. It was for far more than the offer that.
Saudi Arabia's growing influence in sports, especially boxing, has become hard to overlook. With their vast wealth and organizational skills, they've hosted some of the biggest events in recent years, like the highly anticipated heavyweight fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury in Riyadh, as well as major cards such as Matchroom vs. Queensberry's 5 vs. 5 events. While this expansion has earned praise for its grand scale, it's also sparked intense debates and criticism, particularly from outspoken figures like Tank Davis. His pointed comments about Turki Alalshikh, head of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, and his doubts about the proposed unified boxing league, have added fuel to the fire. Saudi Arabia's plan to launch a boxing league worth $4 to $5 billion, backed by its public investment fund, has shaken up the sport. The goal of this league is to unite fighters, promoters, broadcasters, and sanctioning bodies, promising a major restructuring of boxing's fractured system.
And it seems like I'm saying this a lot these days. It really does. But that might be the best card I've ever seen. Big up to Mr. Turki Alalshikh. All respect to that great man. For
corner on the ropes, and that's the safest place for a blow right on.
The idea of a new boxing league backed by Saudi Arabia might sound groundbreaking to some, but it's already stirring up controversy among athletes and other key figures in the sport. Gervonta Davis, known for his powerful punches and even stronger opinions, didn't hold back when asked about it. Having just celebrated an exciting win over Frank Martin at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Davis was asked about Saudi Arabia's growing role in boxing. His response was straightforward and critical. If Turki Alalshikh thinks he has all the power just because he has the cash, it's like he's trying to put everyone else down, Davis said, pointing directly at the influence Saudi officials are gaining in the sport. When asked about the new boxing league being developed, Davis didn't completely shut down the idea, but he voiced some serious concerns.
Would you say he's revolutionizing the sport?
Oh, for sure. He's making the sport better. I love what he's doing for the sport. Just like this event, boxers are getting rewarded.
Davis had mixed feelings about the new league, saying, "It's somewhat good for the sport, but I don't know, you want to kick everybody out, all the promoters? That's crazy." His hesitation reflects a growing divide in boxing between those who value the traditional promoter-driven model and those who see Saudi Arabia's financial power as a chance to reshape the sport. Turki Alalshikh has become one of the most influential figures in boxing, playing a key role in bringing major events to Saudi Arabia and positioning the country as a global hub for combat sports. However, his plan for a unified boxing league hasn't been well received by everyone. Critics like Davis believe such a league could dominate the sport, taking away the diversity and independence that promoters bring. Fighters, they argue, could lose their bargaining power and become controlled by a single entity when negotiating fights.
With the Disney World together and things like that, so yeah, I would call it a friendship. Turki Alalshikh has done with boxing. I appreciate everything that he's done and doing and what he's going to do in the future, and I think it's bright future.
Saudi Arabia's growing role in boxing is clearly changing the game for fighters like Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, and Anthony Joshua. The country has become a financial powerhouse, offering paydays that far exceed what's available in traditional markets. However, not everyone is convinced this is a good thing. Davis has voiced concerns that Saudi Arabia's influence is more about creating flashy spectacles and focusing on wealth rather than maintaining the sport's integrity. The small crowds, emphasis on attracting global stars, and lack of focus on developing local talent have all sparked skepticism among critics.
There were some discussions. They weren't long. It was very quick, but it has to be sort of on our terms, not necessarily all on their terms. But look, that's boxing.
Davis didn't hold back, accusing fighters who choose to compete in Saudi Arabia of prioritizing money over their principles. They go over there, get beaten in front of a crowd of just 19 people, but because they're making a lot of money, it's fine, he said, showing his frustration with what he sees as a sellout mentality. For Davis, the US is still the true home of boxing, where he believes he can sell out arenas and create a legacy without bowing to Saudi power brokers. The controversy surrounding Alalshikh isn't just about money or influence, it's about where boxing is headed. Supporters of Saudi Arabia's investment argue it's revitalizing the sport, offering fresh resources and opportunities. They view the proposed league as a chance to make boxing more organized and efficient, free from the fighting and confusion that has held it back for years. On the other hand, critics see Alex's ambitions as a potential takeover that could reshape boxing in ways they don't agree with.
Hi there, welcome to Boxing Media Hub. So tonight we're hearing reports from the New York Times that the Saudi investment fund is close to purchasing 10% of the zone worth $1 billion. Let us know what you think to that, guys. Turkey and his team taking over.
And our unofficial score, Joe Goosen has Davis closing the gap on
Davis's comments about the Saudi official show his concern that Alec is more focused on gaining power than on developing boxing. Why isn't he building up talent where he's from? This guy doesn't know much about boxing, and yet they're turning to him, Davis said. He questioned why Alec isn't investing in local Saudi fighters instead of bringing in foreign stars. For fighters like Davis, who grew up in the tough boxing scene of Baltimore, the flashy Saudi events feel disconnected from the sport's roots. The small, exclusive crowds and luxurious settings stand in stark contrast to the packed arenas and loud, energized atmospheres that define American boxing. This difference in values is at the core of Davis's criticism, and it's a concern shared by others who worry that boxing's true essence is being sold off to the highest bidder.
Did you physically ask Turki Alalshikh to try and make a Devin Haney Tank fight? Because we hear Turki say that he would like to see Shakur in Tank. Did you say, can you make that fight for us? Like, did you ask for that fight to Turki?
Absolutely. Davis has definitely muted the offense of Frank Martin for the first time in this.
As Saudi Arabia continues to grow its influence in boxing, the sport is at a turning point. The proposed new boxing league promises huge financial rewards and stability for fighters, but it also risks pushing away people like Davis, who see the kingdom's control as a threat to boxing's core values. Right now, Davis is standing strong as a vocal critic, refusing to join the Saudi-backed movement despite its tempting financial offers. Whether he will stay true to his beliefs or be swayed by a $150 million deal remains to be seen.
Hopefully I fight Ryan again. If they're not on some whole shit, I text that ass again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start streaming out that, yeah, niggas start talking that.
The tension between Davis and Alec goes beyond just a personal dispute. It's about the future of boxing. It's a clash of old-school values versus new ideas, pride versus practicality, and staying true to principles versus chasing profits. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.